Hi, welcome to International Passive House Open Day. My name is Kellett from Kellett Design Group. Here we have a certified Passive House Plus in Perth, Western Australia. We're now inside with my builder, Ryan Gagnon from Ismart Building Group, and we're going to have a chat about the journey of the Passive House process and how it all went.
Thanks very much. Hi everyone, thanks for having a look, taking the time out of your day to see what we do and how we do it. Myself and Luke met about 3.5 odd years ago. Yeah, maybe even a little bit more. Luke and his firm have designed probably about 70% of our homes, maybe even a little bit more. So it was an absolute pleasure when Luke and Cheryl came to us and asked us if we wanted to be involved in the construction of their home. You will see as you go through the photos, it's an absolutely beautiful home, fantastic, looks incredible. And the fact that it's passive house is just a bonus on top. So at the very beginning, we had a couple of projects in the process at the time, Luke. When you came to us, you said, I've got my own site. I've got a site and block, beautiful block, which it is. And you wanted to embark on the journey of building a home.
Yes.
So, like, at the very beginning, what possessed you guys to actually go down the passive house route? What was your catalyst for, pursuing passive house?
Passive house. I designed a lot of homes over the years, but I knew in my heart and soul there's a better way to design homes, performance and comfort. Mm-hmm. Going back to Ireland, where I'm from, passive house has been around these years. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, I need to do something here. I need to bring that into WA or Australia, and build better homes, or at least design better homes.
Yeah.
More comfortable, perform a lot better.
Can you talk a little bit about when you were designing, how the orientation influenced performance?
Yeah, that's a bit of a trade-off there because of the views. Hopefully you can see it. Here's where we had a trade-off. We had the views that we didn't want to waste. The views are west.
Yeah.
That's going to bring a lot of heat in summer if we've got some large glazing there. So we wanted to make sure that was shaded. That was a key, I suppose, selling point for this property, that we're overlooking a lake and a park, and we want to make sure that we don't miss that. Mm-hmm. We could easily rotate the house, then we're going to miss the views.
Yeah.
So, that getting those views in there, but making sure that it's not detrimental to the performance of the house, because we don't want to live in a beautiful house that has beautiful views, but it doesn't perform as well.
When we speak about performance, let's go through your insulation values first, because we all know passive house, there's 5 principles, and insulation is probably one of the most important. So some of our insulation values, if you can tell us about them.
Yes. So our value of the walls is 5.7. I think we'll have to chop this one.
Extremely high.
So moving on to the ceilings, on the flat ceilings, we've got or 6 in the ceilings. In the raking portion of the ceilings, we had to drop it down to just slightly to or 5, still high performing. Then we go to the internal walls. Obviously, they're just acoustics. We've got or 2.5 high density bats. And around the perimeter, in the ceiling, going back to the ceiling, around the perimeter of the ceiling, for the first 300 mil, we've got an R4 bat. That's to prevent any compression as we stuff the insulation right to the edge.
So Luke, can you talk us through some of the insulation in the different elevations on the house as well, please?
Yep, no problem. So the walls are 120 stud with a 100 mil tough wall on the outside. Total wall value is about R5.7.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's high. That's a lot higher than what we normally do on other homes, other passive homes. The reason for this is we've got a lot of west-facing glazing, and we've got a lot of south-facing glazing. So I had to offset the heat gain and the heat loss with beefier walls, let's put it. So I wanted the home to fit into its surrounding and look like a masonry home. Because in WA, a lot of people have maybe a vendetta against timber frame. So I wanted to show people you can get it to look like brick if that's what you want, or rendered masonry, but the performance is way better, obviously way better.
Okay, so you touched on glazing there, and you have heating rods and cooling rods. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, and what glazing you used and what window frames you used? Yep,
so it was a UPVC frame. It was a wood glaze, argon filled, low E glass. So really high performing glazing, and it keeps the house cool cool in summer and warm in winter.
Okay. And U values? Can you recall U values for the glazing?
U values varied between the fixed and the sliding doors and the windows, but I think on average is around a 1.8 U value for the actual total combined for the unit itself.
Installed.
Yes, installed.
Yeah, installed. So that's like a lot of people in passive house industry say, wow, that's really high. But we know from PHBP that it can be a little bit high if you offset. So your extra insulation may be offsetting the higher value of the U value.
We also have to think about what can you get on the market. You could easily go triple glaze, no problems. But then we have logistics. At the time, coronavirus unfortunately kicked in.
Financial viability as well.
Yeah.
Is a big thing.
And yes, and the cost as well. So you can easily throw extra money and just go triple, but unfortunately this is what we've got available off the shelf. So this is what we work with.
So with regards to glazing again, we've got West Face, we're looking out here in a beautiful lake and parkland. It's an incredible site, incredible views. But you do have quite a bit of glazing. Like, as you walk in the entry and you come down to the back of the house, which is all your living area, large open plan area, and you've got a nice raking ceiling which follows through straight to the outside over your alfresco area. A lot of glazing on that western side.
Yes.
So was the alfresco purposely built for shading, or how was that just a feature that you wanted?
No, definitely. It's got two jobs. Firstly, as an alfresco, but secondly, to shade the west-facing glazing. Okay. That's a huge thing. If we didn't have that, the chances of this even complying at passive house standard highly unlikely. Okay. Because there's just so much glazing. Well, not a huge amount, but there's a lot of glazing facing west on this property.
So you've been in the house near on 4 or 5 months now?
About 4 months, yeah.
Yeah, about 4 months. And so that would put you were here at winter solstice. You would have been in the house, I think?
Yep.
Yeah, correct. So you moved in late June, early July or something like that.
Yep.
So with performance-wise on glazing so far, or on temperatures, and we know that like you've only been in 4 months, so the structure and everything has to settle and adjust to the relevant temperatures. How's it performing so far?
So far, very good. And it's really nice to come from that transition of living in a double brick home straight to this, because it's in your mind how fresh, how badly the double brick homes perform in winter because we constantly had the heat on. Then to come in here and barely put the heat on at all. Like we haven't really been using it at all. There was a couple of days where it got to 10 degrees outside, and internally it was, I think from memory, around 18.5 or 19 degrees. Yeah, okay. So that was, really, really comfortable. Very happy with that. When
you were at the very start of your process, had you ever considered brick for passive house, or was it just automatically going to be a timber frame?
My partner Cheryl wanted some type of brick because she's from WA, and it's a little bit harder to convince people to step away from what they know. Yeah. So I knew if I was going to introduce brick, it would be outside the thermal envelope because I don't want to complicate things. I know how to design passive houses. We do them in timber frame all the time. You can do a brick veneer outside the thermal envelope, but we've introduced face brick to the garage. Yeah. So for me, that's enough. I didn't want to include that in the actual thermal envelope because for me, it's just that extra step of having to deal with a thermal bridge. Yeah. So when you mentioned veneer as well, you also have some veneer clad feature stone as well. Yep. So I wanted to bring a little taste of Ireland into this project. Yep. So we've clad the side-facing master bed wall with stone cladding. Yep. So we've removed the 100mm tough wall that we would have around the perimeter, but we beefed up the stud. So we've got a 170 stud with the stone cladding attached. And I see you've carried that feature around to the alfresco area as well with the brick piers. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's a really nice design feature. On the performance of your windows, right next to the path, people think, oh, it's beautiful, serene, and it's quiet and everything, but we all know you get lawnmowers in here every week or so. Yeah. It can be quite noisy, and we also have insecticide treatment, and you've got a lake across the way, which is absolutely fantastic, but that brings its own challenges too, with insects, etc. Yes. So how's Passive House been in that respect? It's pleasant, especially when it's windy. It's pleasant to walk outside, enjoy the views, but as soon as you close that door, when you come back inside, it's just silent. That's one thing that I didn't think I'd pick up, but it's very noticeable when you come into the house. Okay. When you stand in here and feel it, you can just feel the silence and the comfort. Yeah, okay.
Yep, and you don't have any insects or flies or mozzies or midges or anything like that, because you're very close to the lake here.
Yeah. Well, obviously outside we do. Inside, no, we definitely don't.
Not so much.
No.
Okay. So look, further to sustainability, and when we're talking about timber frame and how sustainable it is, our next stop is, I guess, energy consumption. So energy use is a big ticket item, and it's a steadfast requirement in passive house planning package, as you know.
Yep.
So how are we doing there?
Very good, actually. Really well. So obviously there's only 2 occupants, so just myself and my partner, no kids yet.
All right. So energy efficiency, how are we doing?
Solar-wise, we are producing per cycle 3,600 kilowatt hours per cycle, and we consume around between 350 and 400 or thereabouts per cycle. So it's still early days, but yeah, we
Hang on a minute. Go back again. You're producing 3,600 kilowatts. So what have you got? A 6 kilowatt?
6.6 kilowatt
6.6, yeah.
pack. That's the biggest we could go.
Yep.
In a residential area with still getting the rebate from the government.
Yeah, and obviously in your design, that was your thought process of having north facing.
Absolutely. Having that roof straight run, get as many panels on there as we possibly can, no shading, exactly facing north, no ridges, no valleys, nice and easy. 6.6 kilowatts, I think it was 21 panels or something like that.
Wow. So at 3,600 kilowatts per month, and you're using 360 to 400, you're only using like 12%.
Yeah. Very happy with that.
You're using 12% of the energy, so you're net positive by 90%.
90%.
That's insane.
Yeah. So we're not reliant on, obviously, aircon. We don't rely on aircon. We don't have gas. We cook with electricity. So overall, again, it's only 2 occupants. There's no kids. So it's very, very low running cost, which makes me feel happy because the bill is like...
It's insane.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
It's good. We're selling a lot more back to the grid than I initially thought.
Okay, so you've been here 4 odd months.
Yep.
And yourself and Cheryl have settled in really nicely. You've been working very hard with all your external landscaping. The place looks incredible. Looks fantastic. You've got a couple of green fingers here.
Thank you. There's a lot of work in there. I do appreciate what goes into the landscaping now. So a lot of hard work.
It's not me. You gotta stay out of that one.
Yeah, but it's for your own home, so
Yeah.
get
So
the energy.
performance, you're happy, you're not happy, you're happy with the overall project, your journey. Talk a little bit about how, from start to finish, and now that you're in here, what's your overall view on the process?
Feeling, yeah, it's definitely opened up my eyes as to the the process of what homeowners go through. So it's a roller coaster. If things don't work out, there's always a solution, and you've been very helpful. There's always a solution. So there's a roller coaster of emotions, but overall very, very satisfying to know that I've designed, built with yourself, and I know that it's a fully certified Passive House Plus. Very, very satisfying. And to sit here and just be with friends and hear their compliments, and people that might not know a huge amount about Passive House just stand here and say, whoa, it's really different. I can't explain it, but just feels different than other homes. And that gives me a lot of confidence. It's very satisfying to hear that.
Good, fantastic.
Thank you for looking at this house. I hope you found it informative. Thanks again.